Hello, friends! What do you think created the most incredible mutant animals? Man or nature? What does the creepy hybrid bat look like? The one that could have caused the global pandemic? And what are the strangest crossbreeds in the world? Today, we'll find the answer to these fascinating questions together. In this video, you'll get to see the unusual but amazing animal hybrids that have broken all records. They are definitely worth seeing. Comma. This hybrid could have never existed in the wild because the geographical gap between the two species was too great. Nonetheless, the dromedary and the South American llama surprisingly had quite a few common genes. Over 30 million years ago, their common ancestors inhabited territories that have turned into the mountains of North America today. The first attempt to crossbreed a llama and a camel took place back in 1998. It may not seem like a difficult task, but it took biologists and breeders years to prepare for the creation of this hybrid. However, their efforts were not in vain, and the crossbreeding was successful. Sure, you can't call this animal frightening, except for maybe frighteningly cute. Zebroid. It sounds ominous, but in fact, zebroid is the general name for all hybrids of a zebra and any other equine animal, as in a horse, donkey, or pony. Zebroids, like other equine hybrids, are bred for practical use as mounts and pack animals. These crossbreeds have an advantage over horses and donkeys in Africa because they aren't afraid of the bite of the tsetse fly and are more trainable than zebras. The first zebroid was bred in 1815. A male zebra and an Arabian mare were mated. Even though they succeeded at changing the animal's appearance, they failed to change its character. Zebroids are very unpredictable, and it's difficult to find common ground with them. The process of birthing hybrids usually also comes with great difficulties. Moreover, there are many problems with the purity of the offspring. Many hybrids suffer from congenital pathologies. Geep. This is a sheep-goat hybrid, which is known as a geep or a shoat. As it turned out, it's possible to get this kind of crossbreed in a natural way. Domestic goats belong to the genus Capra, while the domestic sheep belong to the genus Ovis. A goat has 60 chromosomes, and a sheep has 54. Despite the fact that these two species have been living side by side for thousands of years, crossbreeding them is only possible surgically. The offspring obtained isn't exactly a hybrid, but a chimera. Chimeras in nature are found only within one species. Chimeras are created when two embryos fuse together very early and develop as one creature. The result is a body with two sets of cells and two sets of DNA. Chimeras can also be artificially created in the lab from embryos of two different species. One research project on the possibility of creating chimeras between human and animal embryos is currently underway. However, scientists working with chimeras today face countless obstacles. In order for the biologists to be able to grow chimeras, they need to obtain appropriate permissions from the authorities, and they aren't exactly willing to approve these experiments. Pigeon and chicken. Who could have come up with an idea to create a hybrid of a chicken and a pigeon? It may be hard to believe, but this kind of crossbreeding isn't all that surprising in Western civilizations. They thought about it for a long time, and some people even argue that such a hybrid exists in antiquity. In modern times, the newspapers covered such an experiment only in the 1970s. A married couple who kept both chickens and a domestic pigeon decided to create a hybrid for a joke. Surprisingly, the experiment was successful, and the domestic pigeon named Carlos became the father of 3 pigeon chickens. Narluga. Narluga is a collective name for hybrids of narwhals and beluga whales. The existence of these hybrids in nature wasn't really surprising for the biologists. Beluga whales and narwhals are similar in size. They prefer the same Arctic waters, and they are much more closely related to each other than any other species. So much so that scientists have repeatedly noticed mixed pods. From the scientific point of view, narwhals and beluga whales are representatives of the same family. However, they are actually very easy to distinguish between, mainly because of the unusually long horn that grows from the narwhal's upper jaw. The hybrid did not inherit the characteristic bone outgrowth from the narwhal, but the color of the narluga is closer to black. Killer bee. Killer bees were created in an attempt to breed domestic bees, which would be easier to handle. This bee was created by crossbreeding the European honeybee and the African bee. However, the offspring, which turned out to be more aggressive and more viable, were accidentally released into the wild in 1957. Since then, Africanized bees have spread throughout South, Central, and North America. The idea of creating a hybrid based on the African bee was actually a good one. The order for the breeding of the new species came from the Brazilian beekeepers who wanted to get more productive insects. The African bee has a number of beneficial properties as compared to the others. It tolerates heat well, collects almost twice as much honey as the others, it's more resistant to disease, and reproduces better. So they did it. Soon, the order consisting of African female bees arrived in South America. The females of Africanized hybrids began to interbreed with the drones of ordinary bees, and in 1957, the resulting hybrids were set free. In the end, they got the offspring that met all the desires of the Brazilian beekeepers, except for one but. The hybrids turned out to be extremely aggressive and larger in size. They attack anyone who comes closer than 5 meters to their hives, and then chase the fleeing victim for a distance of up to half a kilometer. And most of the time, it ends badly. But the unpleasant surprises did not end there either. In 1967, it turned out that killer bees don't only show aggression to protect their home. That year, the largest number of cases of bee attacks on residential houses in one of the districts of Rio de Janeiro was recorded. They tried scaring the bees away with the flamethrower, but it seemed to only intensify their aggression, which resulted in the deaths of 150 people and several hundred animals. Since then, reports of deaths caused by these bees have come in regularly. In Brazil alone, the number of victims has already exceeded 200, and it's impossible to count how many domestic and wild animals have died, but according to experts, it's over several thousands already. It turned out that the venom of these bees is more toxic than the ordinary bees, hence many of the victims died of anaphylactic shock. New hybrid. Strange videos were uploaded online in the spring of 2020. The first videos were posted on the internet by the people from Argentina and China, which is strange since these two countries are located very far from each other. The two countries got linked together by their videos featuring creatures resembling bats. Actually, these creatures looked like a hybrid of a bat and a frog. These animals can crawl, they can try to fly, and they can swim. These animals somewhat resemble six-winged creatures. Experts are currently trying to find out what it means, whether it's a new species or a mutation of an existing one. There are also some supporters of the conspiracy theory who believe that these animals are actually the mutated hybrids created in some lab by mixing DNAs. Friends, that's all for today. Let us know in the comments if you've ever seen animal hybrids with your own eyes. Hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and see you soon.